pushing us into self-destruction, pushing us into self-destruction. And they make me dream your dreams. And they make
Hi everyone, thanks for watching another edition of the Australian Formula One podcast. As always, you're joined by Max and Pep, and mate, we're up to episode 46.
Woohoo!
And there's been plenty going on in Formula One this week. But mate, I'll tell you, there's been 3 driver confirmations since we last did a podcast, and there's still 3 to go.
Yep.
So plenty going on, mate. But before we get to that, we just want to say that we've had some really nice comments and emails this week.
Yeah, it's been great.
And thanks also to General God for his video. Appreciate that, mate.
Thank you, buddy.
And so thanks very much for all those comments. And mate, this week we've got McLaren confirming Heikki, and we've got Alonso going back to Renault, and Nelson Piquet Junior as well, mate.
Yeah, confirmed at Renault, which I think is a great thing. Heikki going to McLaren, I think we all picked that pretty much, and I think that's a good thing. I think he'll learn a lot there, providing he can fit in, and I think he can. I mean, after all, Ron loves Finns, mate.
There's plenty of Finns in McLaren in the last few years.
But I hope he does well, and I think he'll be a good foil to Lewis Hamilton.
Max, I think it was a pretty logical move for Fernando. He's got an out clause for his 3-year contract, I believe, but you know, he's got an out clause which I reckon basically says if Renault doesn't beat Ferrari, then I can go Ferrari. So I think he's done the smart thing and gone to a team that's probably the most competitive out of all the options that he had. And we'll see whether he can make the Renault go faster in 2008. But I'm not surprised, mate. We said on a couple of videos that we thought that was what was going to happen. So
yeah, I think it's a good move. I think it was pretty much the only right move he could have made. As I've mentioned in the past, and as has been discussed in the comments section of our channel, Renault have identified where they made the mistake this year, and it was within the calibration of the wind tunnel, if you believe them. And they're fairly confident. I mean, Flav's turned around and said we know where the mistakes were in 07, we won't be making them in 08.
yeah.
So hopefully that actually holds true, and it'd be great to see Fernando Alonso back up there, mate.
And Renault being competitive again.
Yeah, for sure.
And mate, we've got Nelson Piquet Junior as well confirmed for Renault. So
can I say I'm really pleased about that? I think that's great. I think we're all a little bit shocked initially that Heikki was taken out prior to us knowing that he was going to McLaren, or prior to it being confirmed that he was going to McLaren.
Do you think Heikki was at home giggling, knowing that the announcement was ready to be emailed out to the world?
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, that's part of the fanfare of Formula One, and I think that's great. But it'll be interesting to see Fernando back in a Renault. It'll be very interesting to see Heikki at a McLaren. But I think both moves were not only expected, but I think they're both good moves.
And we've also got Nelson Piquet Junior. So we actually saw him at the A1GP race in Sydney, and we felt that he was very smooth and very quick, mate. So
it was. You could see it back then, and I think it's a great move. I mean, he did turn around and say, look, 1 year is enough of testing. He made that fairly clear even before his year of testing for Renault. 1 year is enough. If they can't see what I can do, then there's a problem. But I think it's a good move. I think he'll do well.
I agree, mate. And we've got 3 driver confirmations to go. We're just, I'm just praying, Max, that Super Aguri confirm their drivers for next year.
Yep.
And
well, Honda have just turned around and agreed to fund them,
keep going.
majority fund them for 08. But yeah, it'll be good to see who they have piloted in their cars. I think Takuma Sato was a given.
Yes, and Ant is a given. So Ant will be there. So there's really just, we've got Adrian Sutil at Force India, of course, confirmed, but we're still waiting on the second driver there. So we talked about in the last video about all the drivers testing, Max, and you know, Fissy sees a lot of promise in the team, and he sees his future there. So
oh, how the mighty have fallen! I'm sorry, I quite like Fissy. I never thought he was a top tier driver, but he was a quick, consistent driver. For him now to adopt the Ralf Schumacher route of, you know, I'm only going to them, you know, I hope I get the drive because they're a team on the up and up, and I want to be part of that. I mean, that's almost embarrassing to watch. Physical, I've got more respect for you, mate.
Yeah. He's just hanging on. So many drivers do it over the years, you know, those last headers, they just
you remember
do anything to stay in
mate, you remember
1.
David Coulthard before he got the Red Bull gig, sort of coming out to the media, selling himself in almost what I would say was an embarrassing way. I've got the experience, I'm a quick driver, I know how to take a team forward, and he got the gig. I'm sorry to all you DC fans, I mean I quite like David, but this sort of, with Physico, it smacked to me of what DC used to say prior to getting their Red Bull drive.
Well, we'll see what happens with those Force India seats, and also we were really happy in the last video about the slicks, but of course that was just for testing. And we're not, you know, Max Mosley said if they come back and then, you know, if they get too quick, they'll slow them down, Max.
If the cornering speeds are too quick, Max is just going to go like that to slicks.
Yeah.
Because we can do that. We've got that option, he says. I think the fans have spoken, surely. We want the slicks back.
And not just for a few years.
By all means, take all the winglets off. We all know that has to happen, but for heaven's sake, let's bring the driving back to the drivers. Getting rid of TC was fantastic. Standard ECUs is great. But let's put some slicks back on these things and get the driver driving them again.
Absolutely, mate. And talking about a little bit of F1 technology, Max. There's been some developments this week on the lighting front.
They have indeed.
For the night races, and Australian companies come out and with some technology. So is Singapore.
Yep.
So they're gearing up for their night races, Max. And you know, I say good on them for some entrepreneurial company to develop something and try and get ahead. I mean, the Formula One's basically said that it's coming. So
oh, it's coming, all right.
The technology looks pretty good, mate.
It does. With Singapore, they've engaged the services of an Italian lighting company who've produced a non-glaring light system, which is great. It's powered by 12 generators around the circuit. And might I add, the Singapore circuit looks fantastic. And I think I think we all knew anyway that they once getting the Grand Prix, mate, they were always going to put on a good Grand Prix, and they've started with a bang as far as the lighting is concerned.
Yeah.
And as you quite rightly said, the Australian company Hella have developed a non-glare light system as well, and Mark Webber, mate, had a sneaky test.
Mark Webber had a test, and also Mick Doohan, the 500cc champion, had a test. So we'll see, mate. If Albert Park goes under lights, you know, maybe it could happen or somewhere else. But they're definitely throwing their hat in the ring, which is great.
They sure are. Personally, I hope that Albert Park stays a day race. I don't want it to go to a night race. Kudos to Singapore for sticking their hand up to have a night race.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I'd really, really hate to see Albert Park become a night race. Just my personal opinion.
Well, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and thanks for those comments and emails, and let us know what you think as well about what we've said tonight.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Okay, bye.